Welcome back. Senators from both sides of the aisle failing last night to create a framework for border security as a condition to pass the House's defense package. They're trying to get something together by Christmas. Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson leading a group of 14 senators who are demanding the full conference is briefed on these negotiations before January 8th. In a letter, they write, quote, rushed and secret negotiations with Democrats who want an open border and who caused the current crisis will not secure the border. New Fox News poll shows more than half of the country supports control measures. 79% want more border agents. 67% say they deport those who are already here. Nearly 80% of Americans describe the crisis as either an emergency or a major problem. Joining me right now is New Jersey Congressman Jeff Van Drew, a member of the House Judiciary Committee. And Congressman, you've been to the border plenty of times. Why aren't your colleagues seeing this as more of an urgency?
It's bizarre, Maria. I have no other word for it. Let's understand what's happening. Millions of people, in fact, since the Biden administration has been in place, we have as many people that have crossed that border and are now in the United States as the entire population of New York City, or my state, the entire population of the state of New Jersey. It's around 8 million. It is unbelievable. What are the problems with that? Well, number one, the problems are that terrorists are also crossing the border. Some of them they're catching, the Border Patrol, but there are many that are getting through nonetheless. The other problem is the drug cartel. The drug cartel is establishing businesses in Texas, in Arizona, and other areas. They are importing drugs, as we know, that are made in China, like fentanyl. People, in order to get over here with the protection of the drug cartel, are actually under the gun. They have to sell these drugs. It is just bad in any possible way you can think. Now, I'm going to tell you what I think, and it's a little bit controversial. But I believe that there are a number of senators on the other side and a number of people in the House of Representatives that want to change the substance and the structure of what the United States of America is. Maria, you can't make this up, and it can't happen by accident. They are purposely wanting to leave the borders open. No country, even Mexico doesn't have open borders. Worth its salt ever has open borders. Yeah. It is worrisome. We see what's happening to our cities. It's decaying our country. Not all the people are bad, but there are plenty of bad people mixed in.
And at this point, we're at a moment in time that you've got the FBI director, Christopher Wray, saying that we are vulnerable to an attack on U.S. soil, a terrorist attack, something that Texas Senator Ted Cruz also worried about when I spoke with him over the weekend on Maria Bartiromo's Wall Street. Watch this.
Our southern border is an absolute disaster. I spend a lot of time there, and it has never been remotely as bad as it is right now. And I have to say, especially with the war waging in Israel and in Gaza, the risk of a terrorist attack today, Maria, I think is higher than it has been any time since September 11th. And this administration, the Biden White House and the Democrats in Congress, they do not care. They're looking the other way.
So, Congressman, the question becomes, what can you do about it? We're all worried. You're on the Judiciary Committee, and I want to get your take on what the next couple of weeks and month looks like. On the Judiciary Committee, I spoke with your colleague, the chairman of the Homeland Security Committee yesterday, Mark Green, and he promised us he's going to bring impeachment articles for Mayorkas to the floor. Watch this.
We're going to have about 3 or 4 hearings in January, and then we're going to mark up the impeachment articles that have been written. There are probably about 4 or 5 different members who've brought impeachment articles, really rushing the thing to the floor without a due process. And that's why I think many of those 8 voted no. That investigation wraps up this month, and then we'll do a proceeding in January.
Okay, so we're expecting you to move to impeach Alejandro Mayorkas in January then.
Well, the Democrats actually referred it themselves back when Marjorie brought that motion to the floor. The Democrats themselves actually referred it back to our committee, so it gives our committee the authority to do just that.
What are you expecting, Congressman?
Well, I'm expecting we're going to cross T's and dot I's. I mean, we've got to do this the right way. We're not Democrats. The Democrats, they just get away with it. They didn't have all the evidence. They didn't do all the work. I know it's frustrating, but in judiciary, and I'm sure in Homeland Security too, we're going to cross T's, dot I's, follow the evidence, follow the facts. But there are so many facts. And, I'm not impeachment crazy. It wasn't meant to be used a lot, but I will maintain that the dangers we have now are unprecedented and call for unprecedented responses.
Well, look what Texas Governor Greg Abbott said. He said Texas has relocated more than 80,000 illegal immigrants to sanctuary cities. This includes more than 29,000 to New York, 24,000 to Chicago. New York City Mayor Eric Adams coming up with this idea to fix the crisis. He says the government should be sending migrants to locations throughout the entire country for a 3-year period so that migrants can stabilize themselves, Congressman. How many illegal migrants have come to New Jersey?
We don't even have an exact number how many, but there's a good number. And remember, they had a plan to put up to 60,000 of them at the Atlantic City airport and in a town that only has about 40,000 people. Unbelievable. I want to make something real clear, too. Why are we surprised? New York City, the state of New Jersey, and numbers of other states and cities have declared themselves sanctuary cities. And let's understand what that means. That means that you will help these migrants come across, that you will give them money, that you will give them cell phones, that you will give them transportation, that you will give them housing, and worst of all, that you will not cooperate with the feds when they're trying to bring them back and hopefully send them to their home and not have them here in our state and in our country. Don't be surprised, Eric Adams. Don't be surprised, Governor Murphy, because you made us sanctuary locations. And what do you think is going to happen? This is unconscionable. I can't imagine why anybody would want this to happen except for one reason. This is about politics. This is about new voters, they hope. This is about changing the Electoral College. I hate to say it, but it is, because this is illegal activity. When do we process and accept something that is illegal? It's illegal. They're breaking the law. And New York is becoming awful, and so are other cities. We see our cities all across the country decaying. This is a big part of the reason. We can't absorb them. No country can.
Well, look, I love to hear President Biden tell us all to pay our fair share and, denigrate companies because he claims that they are profiting on his inflation. And then we learn that President Biden's daughter, Ashley Biden, owes $5,000 in income taxes dating back to 2015. Ashley was working at a Delaware nonprofit before moving on to help with her father's presidential campaign. Over the weekend, President Biden put this on X. Republicans may not like it, but I'm going to make sure the wealthy pay their fair share, Congressman. I hope he's including Hunter Biden in that, because according to the House Ways and Means Committee, Hunter Biden owes taxes as well.
Look, this is political BS. He's in trouble and trying to win people to come over and vote for him. Let's go after the big rich guys. Guess what? The majority of Americans under the bill that went through under President Trump received tax relief. It helped to fuel the economy in a good and healthy way. Guess what? Your own son. You want to speak to somebody about paying their fair share of taxes? It all begins at home. How about you pay your fair share? How about your son pays their fair share, who owed over $1 million in taxes, but instead spent them on everything else but. He spent it on, I hate to say it, but he spent it on escorts, he spent it on women, he spent it on exotic race cars, he spent it on nightclubs and casinos and all kinds of different things, but he didn't pay his taxes. Why doesn't the president talk to his son about that? No, because it's rules for thee, but not for me. Americans are so damn tired of it, Maria. I'm tired of it. Let's have, some fairness here.
All right, Congressman, we'll be watching all of that. Merry Christmas to you. It is good to see you, sir. Congressman Jeff Van Drew in New Jersey this morning. Thank you, sir.